Personal development is not a luxury. And if you treat it like that, then your expansion will always remain limited. And this morning, when I was cooking breakfast, I had this sober thought about growth, money, and responsibility. And coming from the spiritual community and working with so many healers, and also being on my own journey, we tend to adapt these beliefs along the way. That's what I see now as just excuses not to take on the responsibility of being a leader and really living your life from that direct place of want and desire. So, that everything is in alignment, or it has to be in alignment. Yes. But do you realize you are already in alignment, and it's up to you whether or not to vibrate from that place in order to gain whatever it is that you are requesting or wanting or desiring. And there is many different belief systems that apply to frequency, manifestation, vision boards, and all of that does matter. But another part of ownership of self is becoming more responsible in your finances and being very clear as to what you want. And a lot of spiritual people oscillate. They go from one extreme to the next, have a very difficult time of just saying, this is the life that I want, and then following the intuitive as well as the practical instructions in order to live that life. And that is part of personal development. Personal development is not a luxury. It is a necessity for change, transformation, and expansion. And so real growth requires financial stability. And when you own that, you understand that part of that financial responsibility and stability is to develop skills that are going to enhance your life so you can continue to offer whatever it is that you want to offer in a sustainable way. And this is where I see a lot of healers stuck. They get caught up in this sacrificial type of way of serving. And it's part of a spiritual immaturity by not completing their personal development. Now, is there a completion to personal development? No. Because if you are truly, quote unquote, spiritually intelligent, then you know that we are limitless. So therefore, your development should not be limitless. So personal development is all about implementing structure around your life. So you could serve from that place of wholeness, of balance, of true reciprocity. You're not giving yourself away anymore. You're not what I call passion pricing. Oh, because I felt called to do it. Yeah, that's nice. And whatever price that you're putting on there, beloved, it should reflect the life that you want for yourself, that you desire for yourself. And here's the thing, when we actually honor that desire within selves, we are unconsciously giving that person that we're serving a permission to do the same thing, especially a person that is coming from the spiritual space of so much bypassing and disconnection when it comes to want and desire. It's pretty much telling them you can be wealthy and be spiritual. You can have a lot of money and still be a good person. You can take first class trips and still show up grounded. Like those different types of authentic ways of living is what's needed more than someone just performing spirituality because they think that it's the righteous thing to do, when you're lying to yourself and you know you want to book that first class flight. You know you enjoy those type of experiences, and those type of experiences does not dictate your spirituality. If anything, it enhances it, because spirituality is all about authenticity. And here's another key point. You want people to invest in your offerings. You want them to pay a certain amount. The question is, how much do you invest in yourself? What is the highest amount that you paid somebody else for transformation, for learning, for training? Because that also signals capacity and measurement. And what I find is the psychological layer around healers who are cheap with their personal development. And so unconsciously, that leaks into how they offer their services. And so they constantly underprice because they haven't built up the capacity to hold themselves in the value that they deserve. And it's a constant cycle. It's a constant loop. And that is what you're teaching others. So scarcity is not always about money. Sometimes it's about fear of expansion, responsibility, and nervous system patterns. So I remember when I came into this realization, and it was years ago when I first started really getting serious around being an entrepreneur, putting structure around my offerings, my gifts, taking them to the next level. And so I seen something on Facebook around this spiritual business coach that helps people like myself to scale their businesses. And so I went ahead and booked a consultation call with her. And we go over my offerings, my courses, and things of that nature. She was very direct and blunt, which I respect and I love. And she said, "Girl, what are you doing? Like, your pricing is terrible. With everything that you're bringing to the table, why are you doing this to yourself?" And just the way she said it, I realized that I was literally in this state of abusing myself, belittling my gifts, my offerings, because I was too busy thinking about everybody else. Well, I don't know if they can afford that. And then she said something very powerful that I tell my students: quit being in other people's pockets. I was like, damn, that landed. So pretty much what she made me get very clear about is that I was pricing my value on what I thought other people can afford. And I said, that doesn't make any sense. And she said, it doesn't, so stop. So right then and there, I stopped. Then she asked, okay, if you want to come into this container with me, it's going to cost $15,000. I was like, what? $15,000? And my reaction showed her that I wasn't ready for that. She said, you're not ready for that yet, but you will be. Because based upon this clarity that you got right now, you're going to apply it and you're going to come back. And that's exactly what I did. You treat that investment like any other important necessity that you have: rent, food, gas, because it's you first before anything else. And that is how I share and teach in all of the containers that I have with my students, because it's important. We need more regulated, wealthy women, healers, visionary leaders in positions of power to make these changes in the world. Because when we are regulated, when we are well-resourced, we are naturally generous, naturally. But when we are trying to be generous from a foundation of lack and depletion, we're just sacrificing ourselves. And that is not righteous. So if you realize you've been treating your personal development like a luxury rather than necessity, I'm going to give you 3 steps in order to regain your position of putting yourself first. Step 1, make growth non-negotiable. Right now, most people invest after everything else is taken care of. But the people who grow the fastest flip that. They allocate time, energy, and money into their growth first. So just like rent is non-negotiable, so is your personal development. Step 2, create a growth allocation. Decide what percentage you want to put aside for whatever training, retreat, offering that may come up. So that way you have the monies to invest into those type of opportunities. That way there is no excuse. It could be $20, $30, $40. Don't beat yourself up as to how much it should be. What you're doing is that you're creating a ritual for yourself to tell yourself that you deserve that opportunity. And you're going to put this money to the side in order to experience that, experience yourself from that level of value. And step 3, choose environments that stretch you. Just like what I talked about when it came to one of my first spiritual business mentors, was all about stretching and challenging myself. That amount put me into a higher tier of self, a self that I wanted to experience. And there was no negotiation. There was no over explaining. It's like, that is what I want to experience. I want to experience myself in this very expansive, abundant way where I am actually generating a lot of income from my gifts, serving and helping people, and also helping them to see the power in themselves and empowering them to step into their highest self as well. That amount for me was an initiation, and that container stretched me in ways that I wouldn't have done if I didn't take a chance on myself. And so whatever container you choose, whatever mentor you choose to work with, if they are already giving you the keys that could be possibly triggering just a little bit of resistance, that usually means it's a good sign that they're your teacher. You want to work with people who actually challenge you, not keep you where you're at, not coddle you, but challenge you to see yourself more clearly. Because that woman seen me before I could see myself more clearly. And she was not afraid to challenge me. And that's something that I respect. And so that is how I teach and share as well. Because treating your growth like a necessity is one of the most powerful financial decisions you can make.